never heard it before. All right, so being Sports Day, I'm sure everybody has heard of the phrase healthy competition. But I was sitting there thinking about that, and I thought, well, I want to rephrase it just a little bit, so I chose the word productive instead of healthy. Because to me, productive really nailed it more closely to what I want to talk about today. Not productive as in, oh, this was a productive worker who cranked out a whole bunch of quantity. But productive in the sense of quality. Productive in the sense of beneficial. Productive in the sense of yielding something good. So keep that in your mind as we're talking. Productive, beneficial, yielding of good. Quality, not quantity. And as always, when I speak, I know a lot of you feel like I'm talking to you, but often I'm talking to myself. And so what I trust is that you get what you need out of me talking out loud. Because everything that I choose to share with you, well, let's say 90% of the time, it's my own lesson. That's why most of us became ministers, by the way. Hint, hint. We do our own work in front of you. And so you apply this wherever you want. It may not be sports for you at all, but you will know where it fits for you. Since it is Sports Day, I started by thinking about professional sports. It is a very, very competitive world. If you're not into sports that much, I'm here to tell you they are very, very competitive. Very big egos involved in most of the players. You kind of have to be to fit in that world. A lot of awards being sought after. I watched the ESPY Awards, where they're awarding top teams and players. Lots of awards, lots of money involved, lots of fans involved, and your worth is often based on whether you can generate the fans. Your value as a player or as a team is based on your win-loss record, and that's very, very intense. Everybody wants the W. Everybody wants the L. Coaches get fired if they don't get enough wins under their belt. Players are compared to each other brutally. Sometimes I watch that and I think, ooh, I would not survive in that professional sports world at all. Of course, I didn't go that direction, but the competitiveness is fierce, and some people really thrive on that. And when it's productive, it can be a really, really good thing. But I'm also very aware watching sports that it can also be not such a great thing. And so I want to talk a little bit about how I see where it goes wrong, or where it is not a beneficial good. Go down to little ones. When you see children on the field playing, and you see their angry parents sitting in the stands, screaming at the referee for the wrong call. What's the message to the child? When you see parents berating their child because they didn't do good enough on the field, boy, what's the message? You see, it gets set up very young. It might not be sports, it might be grades. How parents treat their children over the grades they got. Are they promoting a healthy sense of doing your best, or are they promoting you didn't do good enough, you didn't get good enough grades? You can apply it anywhere, as I already got through saying. Taking these ideas, what I'm putting out here for the kids, take it to the extreme. We grow up, and if we grow up with this competitive comparison, I've got to get mine before you do attitude. You see that right there? Very detrimental. I got to get mine before you do. I got to be better than you are. You take it to the extreme. You see people literally fighting over parking spots in a mall, literally fighting each other for a stupid parking space. That's not very productive competition. We see people fighting over religion. That's what a lot of our wars are about. Nationality. Whose nation is the best? Start taking it to some of these extreme places of competition. Oh, not so good. The ultimate, to me, is war. What is that, if not a competitive attitude? We're going to protect ours, we're going to get ours, we're going to fight you because we don't agree with you. That, to me, is the extreme epitome of when productive competition becomes unproductive. That's maybe the extreme, and you can say, well, that's not everyday life, but it starts with the simple thing of screaming at your ref for not giving your kid the right call on his team, or screaming at your kid for not being good enough, whatever that thing is. In my dance world, I see parents doing the same thing over their little dancers, getting mad at them for not whipping off their triple pirouette right. Seriously, you know, we want to move the kids towards doing their best, but we don't want to be so competitive that it becomes unproductive. So, unproductive, for me, I put it in these words: if it puts somebody else down, not productive. If it dehumanizes another human being, not productive. If it promotes bullying, trampling on another human being, not productive. If it aggrandizes the self, not productive. So thinking of these things of, wow, these things aren't productive. And then on a very, very personal level, I was feeling it in my gut that that kind of competitiveness forces people to try so hard to prove themselves as worthy. I'm still on the not so productive part. I'll get to the productive part in a minute. I just kind of want to set it up this way because I see people in classes and in private counseling sessions that are struggling with their sense of worth, their sense of self-esteem, their sense of who am I, what is my value. It's a very common struggle that many people have, and even the ones, especially the ones, who act like they've got no struggle because they come across as the tough guys. So look at the football field. They're full of guys who just think they're like tough stuff. You probably start asking that person what's behind that. A really wonderful need to want to compete came from probably a very strong sense of lack. Maybe not, but you know, again, you know where it is for yourself, you fit it in for yourself. Trying to prove ourselves is good enough. Little children in sibling rivalry. Why can't you be like your sister or your brother? You know, it starts there. I'm not good enough. We get these messages. I have to compare. I have to compete. I have to be the best. I have to be the best at all costs. I have to be the best so that it's okay if I trample over you. All of this is just not productive, and I feel it in my gut as, even though I wasn't in sports, I was in dance, and I was a pretty smart student in school, and there was a lot of that going on. I had to prove myself. I had to prove my worth. It comes down to this: I'm only valuable if I win. Some of you may not have that in your life. Good for you. But a lot of people have that feeling going on. If this is not applying to you, you might be able to help somebody who it is applying to. I'm only valuable if I win. I'm only valuable if I'm the best. Spiritually speaking, we don't have to prove a thing. Spiritually speaking, we don't have to prove a thing. Wouldn't it be nice if you heard that when you were 3 and 5 and 7 and 15, etc., etc. Spiritually speaking, we are already whole and perfect and complete. So we don't have to prove anything. All right, then people go, yeah, but then what? Then we're going to sit on the couch and be lazy? Well, no. Because that's not our nature. We are human beings who want to strive. There's an innate urging that wants us to go for stuff. But I say there's a difference between the unproductive sense of competition that I've been describing and the productive sense, which is called challenging ourselves. Okay, now, that's a productive thing. Let's challenge ourselves to be more proficient at whatever we choose. That's a great quality. Speaking of my dance students, when I talk to them, and at the beginning of every year I get a new crop of kids in. Some have had me as their teacher before and some are not. And I tell them every single year, every crop of students, it does not matter what the dancer next to you is accomplishing. Please do not compare yourself to that dancer. Certainly, if you're 10, don't compare yourself to the 16-year-old dancer, because that's what they tend to do. Only ask yourself, am I getting better this year? Every year, am I getting better? That's all I want them to focus on, because it is such a competitive environment. And some of these dance teams, they go off to competition. And I always told the kids, you just get out there and do your best. I don't care if you win. Your value to me as a student is not based on whether you get first place or not. That's